3 days after Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire deal, and Vladimir Putin has responded. The Russian president laid out a slew of questions and reservations, also saying that negotiations should, quote, remove underlying causes of the war. That came as U.S. officials had traveled to Moscow on Thursday, although it's not clear if the planned talks occurred. Ukraine's president was skeptical over Putin's comments, saying that it was manipulative and that he was selling so many preconditions that a deal was unlikely. Take a listen.
We have all just heard very predictable and highly manipulative words from Russia in response to the idea of a ceasefire on the front. Putin is essentially preparing to reject at this moment. Of course, Putin is afraid to tell President Trump directly that he wants to continue this war, that he wants to kill Ukrainians.
For more on reaction from Kyiv, here's our correspondent, Gulliver Cragg.
They're not impressed and not surprised. This is what most Ukrainian analysts were predicting, that Vladimir Putin would say yes, but the buts would be very numerous and would be basically ways of either delaying for a long time or actually creating a situation in which the ceasefire can't ever happen. But Vladimir Putin, of course, doesn't want to say a direct no, because the Americans had made it very clear that they would put pressure on him if he did so. Ukrainians are now looking very, very closely at certain things that have been happening on the American side. One is that Stephen Witkoff left Moscow, Donald Trump's special envoy, and we don't have any information about who he met. People were saying he was going to meet Vladimir Putin. It seems that meeting didn't take place. Vladimir Putin's nuances, as he put it, in terms of his acceptance of the ceasefire, implied that he wanted to talk to the Americans about various matters, and we don't have any information that he did so. Then Ukrainians, the more optimistic among them at least, are looking at a couple of pieces of news from the United States as good signs. The US renewed deliveries to Ukraine of a certain type of medium-range bomb that were being delivered under the Biden administration but proved defective and needed improvements. Some are saying now the renewal of deliveries is just because those improvements were made. Others are saying Trump could easily have not renewed it and the timing is interesting. Maybe it's a signal to the Russians that the Americans aren't very happy. Trump saying that he thought that Vladimir Putin's answer was promising but incomplete suggests that Donald Trump is not very happy with Vladimir Putin's answer. And then also the Americans have not renewed an exemption on certain sanctions against Russia that applied to banks dealing in energy trading. And that expired on the 12th of March. The US administration did not renew it. They could have renewed it, so they're making life a little bit more difficult for the Russians in the banking sector. Some Ukrainians are suggesting that this is also part of an attempt to put at least some pressure on Vladimir Putin to be a bit more cooperative in terms of this ceasefire proposal.